Hey, it's Chelsea. I wanted to tell you about one of my favorite parenting podcasts at the moment, Pondering Parenthood. They're fellow Vermonters who keep it real about the joys, the chaos, and all the surprises that come with raising kids. Megan and Mike dive into conversations that feel like chatting with friends over coffee. They're honest, vulnerable, and incredibly relatable. If you've ever needed a reminder that none of us have this parenting thing figured out, this is your sign to listen. Find Pondering Parenthood wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome to Quiet Connection, a podcast dedicated to ending the stigma surrounding perinatal mental health. I'm Chelsea, and today I'm connecting with one of my pocket besties, Kathryn. You might know her as the face of Beyond the Birth Trauma on Instagram. Kathryn is a social worker who thought she was prepared for anything, but her own son's birth turned into a life-threatening crisis involving a massive hemorrhage and an ICU stay. We're talking about the terrifying reality of postpartum OCD and the blessings in disguise of having a mental health background when things go wrong. Kathryn tells it like it is, and I'm so honored to share our conversation with you. Here's Kathryn. Hello! Today, I'm here with Kathryn. Kathryn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have you here. I feel like I say that a lot, but then there are just certain people that it's like, I've been waiting and waiting, and Kathryn is one of those people. So
Thank
excited.
you. I feel the same. I've been really excited about this. And I was sad that we had to, push it off a little bit from when I was sick, but I appreciate it. So,
Oh my God, I tell everyone, and everyone who's listening right now, who's even considering maybe sharing their story, if there is anyone on this planet who understands lifing and plans having to change, it is me. I will never be upset with anyone. I will be like, you got to change your plans? Cool. Awesome. We'll make it work.
You were so nice about it. Yeah. I felt so bad.
Well, I'm usually the one that's like, oh, hey, guess what? I'm flaring again. I can't record today. Or, hey, guess what? One of my kids is sick again and I can't record today. So I say podcasting is a revolving door of scheduling and rescheduling.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But it worked
You're
out,
already
so.
a pro. Yeah. You've already got it down. For those who don't know, Kathryn is the face behind Beyond the Birth Trauma on Instagram, and we will get into that. But this is one of those connections that I'm so excited about because it happened so organically and so out of the blue and just became I don't know, there's something about this mom community. There's something about this community of moms who have experienced birth trauma and PMADs that we just all become each other's cheerleaders. And you definitely are a pocket bestie now. So I love it so
I'm
much.
so
So
happy.
I know I'm gonna stop doing all the talking. But I would love it if you could introduce yourself and let us know who was Kathryn before Kathryn became a mom.
Yeah. So before I became a mom, I was just kind of just a regular girl. I mean, I didn't have too much going on in my life. I was working the regular 9 to 5. I'm a social worker for anyone who doesn't know. I'm not currently working right now, but prior to having my son, I was working actually in mental health. I was working in a psych unit of a hospital. And so I was doing that for about a year. Prior to that, I was working in geriatrics in a nursing home for a few years as the social worker. So really just working. I got married in 2022 and we had plans to have kids pretty quickly. I didn't expect it to be as quick as it was. Um, but pretty much just enjoyed like the first year of marriage and was just working. My husband works also. So it was kind of just like that 9 to 5 grind, as we say. And that's really it. And then I got pregnant and then I had my baby and life really changed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're gonna get into it for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
This is the question that I ask everybody that I always say it's like my least favorite question to ask, but it
Mhm.
informs so much of
Mhm.
what we're going to talk about. Did you always picture yourself being a mom?
Always, yeah. I always pictured myself being a mom. In fact, I thought I would have 3 or 4 kids. Realistically, now that I have one, I think I would have had 2. 2 or 3, definitely not 4, but I had always pictured it, and I remember even at my wedding, during my dad's speech, at the end, he ended it with, because he knows me, he just knew I always wanted to be a mom, and so he ended it with, "Have lots of babies, as many as you can have," and
Mm,
I really wanted to, and, I just such a weird thing that that's not how my life is going to go, and I'm sure, we'll talk a lot about that too, but, um, yeah, I always wanted to be a mom,
yeah.
always.
That was something that was a core
Yeah,
value for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and, like, even when I was a little girl, I mean, obviously, like, I played with the dolls, and I had my little carriages, and I'd pretend, but in my early 20s, I was like, "Yeah, Dick, I wanna be a mom."
Yeah. Yeah. So that makes and it really does. It informs it lets us know where you were at when we get deeper
Mhm.
into your story,
Yeah.
for sure. And this is one of those rare occasions where I know more about the story. Usually when I meet my guests, I try to learn as little as
Mhm.
possible so that I can experience the story organically. But
Yeah.
this is one where I'm like, "Oh, I know this story, but I'm gonna learn
Yeah.
more. We're gonna learn more
Yeah.
together."
Yeah.
So, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the journey to your first child, your child. You said it happened a little quicker than you
Yeah.
anticipated.
Yeah, I would say the easiest part for me of bringing my son into the world was actually getting pregnant, and it's funny because, I mean, I remember being like, "Oh my god, this was like." I mean, like, I don't wanna be like, because so many people struggle, and so I know that's really difficult, and I've had friends who struggle, and so you wanna be kind and compassionate towards that, but I was so excited that it happened so quickly because I had always been so worried just from, like, what you hear, um, and also I'm not, I'm in good health, but, like, I'm overweight, and so I was very concerned about that, and so I just kind of expected it to take longer, and it was, like, so quick, which is great. But then I had no idea what was about to hit me. I had no clue. Pregnancy was
No.
pretty hard. I mean, in terms of, like, health-wise, I was okay. I had gestational diabetes, well managed, and hypertension, also well managed. The main concern was always preeclampsia.
Mhm.
It was always that. So I was high risk from the start, but my pregnancy went pretty smoothly, in comparison to a lot of people. So it was
Yeah.
really, yeah. I mean, I was like, the morning sickness was awful. I don't know how people do this so many times, but I would have done it again. I would have done it again. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, pregnancy wasn't great, but
But it sounds like you were able to be in the moment and you were able to, like, be thankful for I even hate saying that. Like,
I know. I know what
you know
you
what I
mean,
mean?
though. Yeah. Like, I was so grateful. Like, even when I was so sick the first 18 weeks, I was like, "You know what? This is a blessing, and this will be worth it." And it is, obviously. I never really was thinking about what could happen, like, during birth. I
Yeah.
it was, like, ingrained in my head, preeclampsia,
Mhm.
because my blood pressure was, like, so high, and then we got it well managed, and I was like, "Okay, so this could go one of 2 ways. I could be fine, or this could be something that I have an issue with."
And it
No,
wasn't what you
nope,
had an issue with.
and my
No.
blood pressure was fine. It was
Yeah.
fine in the hospital, it was great. Mhm, yeah.
So yeah, so talk to me about the birth experience because it was not what you planned for.
No, no. So, because of the hypertension and, the gestational diabetes And my son had IUGR, so he was really small, which I didn't really understand why I would need to be induced for that reason, but I guess it's, like, better for them to be out than in when they're so small. Um, so they had scheduled an induction, which I knew I was gonna be induced pretty much by, like, week I would say 15. They pretty much told me, "You'll probably be induced." I was induced at 37.5 weeks. And I was feeling good. I took off of work. I want to say it was like 3 weeks beforehand. I decided to, that was it. I was going to just go out on leave. And I felt good. I felt like I was relaxed. I was ready. It was, of course, a little bit nervous. It was my first baby. Um,
Yeah.
but I had gone in for my induction and everything started off fine. It was pretty slow. It had been, I want to say, like the first 24 hours, really nothing happened. I wasn't dilated really. I mean, I was a little, very, very small amount. I think I was dilated at like 2 or 3,
Uh-huh.
and nothing was happening. But also, I wasn't at this point like exhausted yet. He was doing okay. So I was like just being a trooper about it. And then we get to like the 48-hour mark, and still like nothing's happening. Now I'm like 4 centimeters dilated, and nothing's happening. My water hasn't broken. Now I'm getting exhausted. I'm not sleeping. I don't feel well. I'm getting frustrated. I'm anxious. And then the baby's heart starts to drop a little bit. And it's happening enough where they're like, okay, this is like, we got to just keep a better eye on this. So they did that. I'm not sure what is it called where they tell you it's a sticker on their head,
Oh,
but it's
yeah,
like a
I can't remember what
screw.
it's called either. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, they put that they inserted that, which was awful. That in itself was absolutely traumatic for me. Um, but it was the same thing. They were just finding that his heart rate was just going it would go down and he was getting stressed out. So they said, "No more. We're gonna come off of the Pitocin and everything." And just it wasn't an emergency. It was just, "Let's take you off everything, and then we'll do a C-section tomorrow morning." Perfect. I'm like, I understand some people really don't want C-sections, and I can completely empathize with that. For me at this point, I was like, whatever. I just do it. I want to be done with this. I want to meet my baby. Um, my mom had 3 C-sections, so I knew I was like, okay, I have her. She's a great support, and I know she'll help me. So we go in for the C-section, and I mean, it was just like a regular C-section. He's born, beautiful boy, 5 pounds, 1 ounce, small, but, like, healthy lungs and everything, so I breathe a sigh of relief because at this point, I'm like, "I know he doesn't need to go to the NICU. He's good." Um, and now it's just kind of the eagerness to, like, I wanna hold him, they're cleaning him up, they're getting me, sewn back together. They start to feel a little bit weird, like, really tired. But I'm not thinking much of it because I'm like, I really not, gotten much sleep. So it's fine. And but I'm feeling weird. I can't really explain how it feels. It just feels like this a tired that I can't explain. And I'm noticing like I'm getting a little sweaty too. The OR is freezing. So I'm like, this is weird. But I'm not saying anything because I'm like, I'm in good hands, obviously. These are great doctors. And then I hear the doctor kind of quietly say to the anesthesiologist, "How's her blood pressure?" And I was like, "Okay, like, what do you mean?" Like, in my head, I'm like panicking internally.
Right.
It's just like, I mean, it's a little low, but, I mean, obviously they're trying not to scare me.
Yeah.
Um, so at this point, I had bled a lot, but it wasn't like to the point yet where it was like an emergency. I think it was just like I lost more blood than maybe you'd see in a typical cesarean, but it wasn't like I was going to recovery. They were going to keep an eye on me and see what was going to happen. Then, I start to feel like, okay, I'm a little bit like tired, but that's it. I'm sure I'm fine. Then we go into the recovery room, and that's when, I mean, all hell broke loose at this point. They placed my son on me to breastfeed, and he latches, was great. And so they're adjusting me to sit up
Mhm.
in the bed so that I could breastfeed easily, or easier, I should say. And at this point, I lose all of my hearing. Like, I
Mm.
100% of it, I couldn't hear anything. And I panic. I'm screaming. I can't hear anything. I can't hear. I'm like deaf right now. And that's obviously when I think they knew I was going into hemorrhagic shock.
Mhm.
So they lay me back down in the bed, and my hearing does come back. But at this point, I feel really sick. I mean, at this point, like, I know something's terribly wrong. Um, and so the doctor kind of starts to explain, you've lost more blood than we'd like to see, but these things do happen. And I mean, he was really good at trying to calm me down. Um, and they were gonna explain, we're gonna start a blood transfusion, and you should be feeling a lot better. Okay, perfect. But then they start pushing on my abdomen, and I'm the hemorrhage is bad, really, really bad. I could
Yeah.
feel it, felt like, trigger warning for anyone listening to this, but this is just the only way I can describe it is like it just felt like matter, just matter coming out. And I was
Yeah.
terrified. And so at this point, they're like, it's now an emergency. It's massive blood transfusion protocol. I beg, can you get my mom in here? I'm begging. Like, I need my mom. And it's not that I love my husband so much, and like he's incredibly supportive, but I just went back to like being a little girl and needing my mom in that moment. And this goes to say, like, we just always need our moms. We're always going to be
Yeah.
so important to our babies. So they actually ran and got her. She came in, obviously, like, has no idea what's going on. I could see the terror in her face. She's doing her best to try to remain calm. And this is when they're like, okay, yeah, we need to get you back in for surgery and see what's going on. Do you consent to a hysterectomy if need be? Obviously, I'm like, yes, do it, whatever you need to do, whatever you need to do. And they brought me back in, and I remember just thinking to myself, like, I am probably going to die right now on this table. And I asked, actually, before they brought me into the OR, I asked to see my son just to give him a kiss. And I remember just looking at him and saying, I'll be back, I promise. But in my head, I was like, I'm never gonna see him again, you know? And so that was really hard. But then I just kind of let the doctors take over, and they put me to sleep, and that was it. And the next thing I woke up, like a day later, 20 hours later, I don't even know. I woke up, I was intubated. Instinctively, I'm yanking the tube out of my throat, obviously.
Mhm.
And, once they get me, get the tube out, and they get me settled and kinda, like, get me some water and get a little relaxed, and that's when I find out everything that happened. So, I did not need a hysterectomy, but I had lost about 3 times my blood volume. I can't even fathom how that happens, but my guess is
No.
that as I'm losing blood, they're giving me more blood, and then I'm losing it, and then they're giving me more blood. So, yeah, it was a wild ride.
Yeah, and for someone I know you've said to me several times, I'm so type A. And so, like, for someone planning on complications of a certain type,
Mhm.
and then to experience something so outside of what you ever expected,
Yep.
it's a wild ride, yeah, is one way to put it. And it definitely resonated with me as a fellow postpartum hemorrhage survivor. Like, we don't talk about this often on the podcast. I haven't had a lot of PPH survivors, ironically enough, although it is more common than we know. But when you said, like, yeah, it just felt like matter was spilling out of me, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, like, yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
It's so hard
that's."
to explain, but that it's literally like It's just weird. It's
It's
weird and
not like
terrifying.
peeing your pants, like, it's
Nope.
not like people are
It's not
like,
like a
"Oh, so you just feel."
period.
No,
Yeah.
no, it just feels like everything's coming out of
Yeah.
you.
You, like, feel like like, I'm sorry, like, this is very but it
Oh,
feels like your
we have
organs are
trigger
coming
warnings.
okay, good, because 'cause I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want
No.
everyone should know this is, like, we're getting into detail here.
Yes.
But, yeah, it feels like your organs are coming out. I mean, it's like it's terrifying. And
Yeah.
my mom, like, witnessed all of this. Like, to this day, she's like, it was I thought I was gonna lose you. I mean, of course, my mom was like, Everything's gonna be okay. You're not," because I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. And she's like, no, you're not. You're not gonna die. You're not gonna die. You're gonna be here for your son." But
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, like, a year down the line, she's like, "I thought you were gonna die, but I'm your
Yeah.
mom and I'm never gonna scare I can't, I have to be strong just like you were strong for your baby."
Mhm.
It's just yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
If
that's
we
not
don't
even
laugh, we
getting.
cry. So
Exactly. I think a lot of the ways that we discuss this, and for a lot of
Mhm.
people who have experienced, like, birth trauma and subsequent, like, mental health,
Yeah.
challenges, it is that if you don't talk about it with a side of humor,
Mhm.
I mean, what else are we gonna do? We just
I
cry all the
know.
time.
I know.
We just
Exactly.
cry all the time.
Yeah.
This doesn't even touch on at the time, like, the experience of your partner. Your partner's witnessing
Mhm.
all of this with you. I'm assuming he stayed with your son.
Yeah, so I even throughout all of this, and this is again to say how strong mothers are. I, of course, was worried. I was scared. But I was like, "How's the baby? Is he
Mm,
okay? How's his sugar?" Because, I have the gestational diabetes. And the nurses were lovely. They were continuing to update me on how he was doing. Sugar was a little low, so they were like, "Is it okay if we give him some formula?" I'm like, "That's fine." And I told my husband, "Just stay with him." He did an amazing job at remaining calm. He was like, I was panicking. He's
yeah.
like, I mean, he's traumatized. Still to this day, he's traumatized, obviously, but he was just so calm, and I mean, he really kicked into dad mode, and that's also part of the reason I wanted my mom there too. I mean, I did want her because she's my mom, and she's just somebody who calms me down so much. She always has. Um, and it's so interesting too because my blood pressure was in like the low 60s, but when my mom came in, it went up a little bit. I started
Mm,
to stabilize a little bit. And the doctor, because my mom tells me, I definitely felt like I was in the way and I was trying my best to just move and like, because there was like a million people in the room. And she remembers the doctor saying, whatever, keep her in here. She's she's a little better with her mom in here right now. And
yeah.
so,
The power of mama.
the power of mama. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, so let's sort of, like, let's continue down this insane journey a little bit. So you woke up. Um, were you in the ICU at that time?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I had
you
no
wo
idea that I was.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm just thinking I'm like in a recovery room. I have no idea where I am. I'm like, oh, like I live. I woke up and in my head, I'm like, I'm alive. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
great. I get to go see my baby now. And okay, yeah. And then they're like, oh my gosh, did I have a storm coming? They're like, no, you are in the ICU. And there's like literally like 10 nurses in the room because I was like yanking my the tube out of my throat. I guess that triggered a lot of people to come in. Yeah, so they're like, "You're in the ICU." I'm like, "The ICU? Like, what do you mean I'm in the ICU? What are you talking I just had a baby."
I'm supposed to be in the mother baby unit. What is happening
Yeah,
right
I should be
now?
having, like, skin to skin with my baby. What is this? So, they were lovely. The nurses were amazing. They explained everything. They explained to me what happened, and they were like, "Your doctor's gonna come in and talk to you." But obviously, they were like, We wanna fill you in on, like, what's going on." Didn't need a hysterectomy, which is great. And at that time, it's funny, I joke, I'm like, "Oh, well, they might as well just shook it out, like, I'm never doing this again." They're like, "I get it. I do get it." But they're like, "Honey, I'm telling you, it's better that you didn't have it taken out, like, regardless." They're like, "We do understand though, but you didn't have a hysterectomy, which is really good, but you lost a lot of blood." And I'm like, "What happens?" And so they kind of explain a little bit, but mainly my doctor came in and talked to me. It was uterine atony, and then I went into DIC, which is like I don't know what it's like, something it's like a really long word that I can never
Good with
remember.
acronyms
Yeah.
either. So,
DIC is like a blood clotting disorder though, and
yes.
it can happen like after trauma.
Hmm.
So you'll see it sometimes like if someone gets really badly injured, it can happen of course during childbirth. So then that's what happened. And then that's what really kind of made it much, much worse. So they were able to nothing, there was no retained placenta, um, no like lacerations, no like they didn't nick me or anything. It was just my uterus did nothing.
It just
It did
didn't, it just didn't,
it didn't
yeah.
even it didn't contract at all
Mm.
after giving birth. So and then the DIC just worsened it. So
And I'm curious too how, because there's this narrative. I use that
mhm.
word a lot, but there's this narrative, right? That like our bodies are made for this. Your body knows what it's supposed to do. And that is, in my opinion, which I
Huh.
don't like to give a lot, that does not hold water.
It's
W-
true. And it's really not it's kind of it can be very harmful because I remember being like, well, so what's wrong with me? Like what, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to add. I was curious, like, what were your thoughts after that? Like, hearing about, like, yeah, there's nothing that you did, there's nothing that we did. It just, your uterus just didn't contract.
Yeah, like my first thought was I'm Italian. So I was just like,
So am I.
who put I'm like, who put something someone cursed me, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way. What do you mean this just happened out of nowhere? This is like I mean, obviously in hindsight, I think I was just in shock and I was like trying to be a little bit humorous about it because that's what I tend to do. But the fact of the matter is that our bodies, yes, like we were, you know, born with a uterus, and well, most of us, and of course, there's people who weren't, but we were born with our reproductive parts. We can, have a baby, but that doesn't mean that your body is going to automatically know in every situation what to do, especially when you put into account, you know, all the medical interventions
Mhm.
that, I mean, I was induced.
Yeah.
I was, given a lot of Pitocin and, these are things that also can cause hemorrhages.
Hemorrhages and complications, and
Mhm.
it completely disregards the fact that for hundreds of thousands of years, mothers were dying in childbirth. Just,
Mhm.
wait, so our body our bodies know what to do?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
what?
yeah. I mean, like, I think it's like our bodies were made to make babies, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for everybody because right we know that there's a lot of women that struggle.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that like our bodies are just like, okay, you just had a baby, like,
Baby button.
yeah, baby button, and this is yeah, uterus contracts. Oh, like
Everything,
that's
do
how it
what you're
should
supposed
be.
to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, like, I don't like to infuse my opinion on things, but just because of the sheer number of mothers that I've spoken to
Mhm.
who, I mean, obviously this is what this space is for, but and especially you as in the mental health field, like,
Mhm.
how damaging that can be to hear that, to hear like, "Well, your body was made for this." And you're like, "Well,
Yeah.
apparently mine wasn't." But,
Mhm. No, and it's
um
so true. It's so true. And then it's funny because when I was working in the psych unit, there was a woman who had come in for postpartum depression. I remember her saying the same thing. It was like, Isn't this like shouldn't I just be able to function? Like, people have babies all the time. And I'm like, that's what they want you to think, right?
Mhm.
But it's just so much more, intricate than that.
It's intricate, it's nuanced, it's complicated, and that and so, like, let's get into that aspect of it. So,
Mhm.
you said you woke up almost a day later. So,
Yeah.
at this point, your son has been with dad in
Mhm.
NICU for a little bit?
So he didn't actually have to go to the NICU, which is surprising.
Okay.
What is great. And so he was just in like a mother baby unit, and they had, brought my family to a separate room. Um and it was just my husband and my parents. My
Mhm.
parents were there like during all of this. Um and it was basically my parents and my husband taking care of the baby. And then, later on my in-laws came. Because my mom at this point had been in the hospital with me for like days, like
Yeah.
throughout my induction and labor, and then she didn't want to go home. I mean, you know, my dad was like, "We gotta let's just go and get a shower. We'll just come and change, come right back." That's when my in-laws came. And so it was kind of like everybody else taking care of my baby, and I was just in the ICU.
Mhm.
And my mom and my husband, oh my god, amazing. And it's crazy because you could like hear in my mom's voice and in my husband's voice how scared they were, but they were trying to like take videos and pictures, which they weren't sending to anybody because they wanted to respect. I said in the beginning, nobody, only me. I send pictures. That's it. So, but they were like, they felt it was important to try to document as much as they could because I was missing so much. So that,
Yeah.
I was watching these things happen through my phone. His first bath. I mean, they asked me, the nurses would come down and ask, we don't know how long you're going to be here. Like, are we able to do this? Are we able to do this? Even the birth certificate, like, I remember my mom bringing to me to like fill out the stuff for the birth certificate. She was just like, I need her to be a part of this. Like, this should be her.
Mhm.
She was such a wonderful advocate. I can't thank her enough.
Yeah, you've posted some of the videos you've posted too, um, are so impactful of those videos that, like, your mom was taking of your husband
Yeah.
and how you can kind of, like, reflect on that. Like, you can see him in dad mode, but you can
Mhm.
also see the fear
Yes.
and the yeah, and,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm how long were you in the ICU?
So I was in there for about, I would say, like 3, 4 days I was in there. It was a few days, and then they had moved me, like, once I was stable enough. And honestly, like, at this point, I think, they were still, like, iffy on it, but they were like, she's stable right now, and she's gonna be, like, watched very closely, obviously, on the mother baby unit. So, they moved me back over, to be with my son, and I was, like, very much heavily monitored. But even at one point, I don't really know if it was, like, a secondary postpartum hemorrhage. They never used that term, but I had actually gone to the bathroom and lost a lot of blood again,
Mm,
and I wasn't sure if I'd be back in the ICU. I didn't have an issue after that, thank God. But, like, even then, it was like, "It's just not over. When is this gonna be over? When can
right.
I just be, like, a mom and be excited and happy that my baby is here?" And, like, instead of, "Oh, I better soak up these moments because, like, I don't know, like, I could hemorrhage again," you know?
Yeah.
So, it was just yeah. I was happy that they moved me after a few days, but it was still really, like, touch and go. I wasn't out of the woods. Um They once they used, I don't know if I mentioned this, they used the Jada device.
Yeah, you
Um,
didn't mention it, but
yeah.
yeah, that's
So,
important.
yeah, they used the Jada device, which ironically had only been in the hospital for, like, a few months at this time. I remember them telling me this.
Mhm.
But they used the Jada. The Jada's what stopped it. And so when they took that out, they were like, "Okay, we're gonna give you, like, another couple days in here and see how you do." So, that's when they moved me.
Yeah. That is, I'm gonna link some information about that in the show notes too, because that is a relatively new
Mhm.
tool for
Yep.
managing postpartum hemorrhage, and it's actually, like, one of the most effective tools if used quickly enough, and, yeah, so I'm really glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
listen, it's
interesting. You can actually go
yeah.
on TikTok for anybody listening who's interested. You can go on TikTok and look it up. And they will show you how it's used. It's so cool because, like, I was like so interested in what this looks like. They actually, I asked to see it when they took it out, and they did show me, but I was like, I still don't understand. Like,
Yeah, no.
it's really cool. Like, if you look it up on TikTok, there's
Yeah,
lots of
look
videos.
it up. Jen Hamilton is a big advocate
Hmm.
for Jada devices.
Yes.
Um, I had the good old fashioned balloon up there for day. I didn't get a Jada device. But yeah, it's making a huge difference in
Hmm.
terms of postpartum hemorrhage. So
Absolutely.
um it's good to know about it. But yeah, just because again, I could go down so many rabbit holes and it's my job to steer the ship. Um, so let's talk a little bit about sort of your mental health through this, because we could spend forever
Mm.
talking about your hospital experience. That
Yeah.
was a huge trauma.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
long time. That
yeah.
was a big recovery. But you're also grappling with at the same time, you didn't have those first moments with your son. So thinking about that transition to the mother baby unit, and then again that transition going home,
Yeah.
which I just want to say, like, when I learned more about your story and stuff, I'm like, holy shit! Like, she just went home. Like, she just went home, and they gave her a baby, and they're like,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm sure it's more complex than that, but, like, talk to me about what your mental state was like at that point.
Well, I think the first, like, 2 to 3 weeks, no, I would say, like, the first 2 weeks, I was just in a survival mode where I was terrified to go to the bathroom, or I was terrified to make any sudden movements. Not only was I in pain from a C-section, but I was also just, "Oh my god, like, am I gonna hemorrhage again?" I knew it was
Yeah?
possible. And so everything I did was like, "Okay, do I have make sure my phone is near me," even though my husband was with me 24/7, and also my mom stayed with us for, like, a week, and then even she, like, slept here for a week. But even when she went home, she was here, her and my dad were here every day, like, for another 2 to 3 weeks, so I was never alone. But my mind was like, "Okay, what do I do in a situation if this happens again?" So really just, like, survival mode, and then, you know, of course, as like every day passes, you feel a little bit better. Okay, it's another day. I didn't hemorrhage again. Another day. I didn't hemorrhage again. Okay, the bleeding is getting less and less and less. I start feeling better. And then my mental health hits a wall.
Uh-huh.
Now, prior prior to all of this, I've always had a little bit of anxiety, but I didn't really realize that I've also had OCD.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was never diagnosed prior to this. But this obviously postpartum really kind of fueled its fire. And I was having, intrusive thoughts, which is also, like, for anyone listening, very normal for mothers to have. We tend to, when you have a baby, you're constantly, like, scanning the world around you for danger, and so sometimes what happens is we get these intrusive thoughts that pop in, and they're really uncomfortable and scary. So it's normal just to begin with, but then add into it, I have had OCD my whole life and just never was diagnosed.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it was really uncomfortable. Um, but I was in my head, I'm like, because again, I worked in mental health prior to this. I was like, I think I know what this is. I think, I'm dealing with some postpartum. I did almost die. And also, I think
Yeah.
I have some OCD. So, I was lucky that with my, knowledge, that I was like, okay, at least I can name it. But what really scared me was I started to get really depressed. Um, which I had never experienced that before. And so I was wanting to sleep all the time. I couldn't really, like, I couldn't function. I felt like I was an awful mom. I just wanted to sleep all day and just be left alone. I felt like I loved my son, but I didn't really feel like I was like, okay, I love him because I know I have to, but do I like really, I don't feel like I have a bond with him. Like I don't feel like I know him. I knew that
Mhm.
obviously I was like, I care for this child. He's a beautiful baby and like I would care for any child, but I didn't feel like he was mine. And that was terrifying to me. And then I started to feel like I was never going to bond with him and that I was broken because of my trauma. I wasn't going to be able to have this connection with him. Or maybe that I was just broken. Like maybe I was just never meant to be a mom.
Mm.
And then I started to feel like, which was weird because, right, I was at the same time, I was like terrified of hemorrhaging again, but then I was also like, I don't really care anymore. Like, I just don't want to be here anymore. So then
Mhm.
the suicidal thoughts came in. And that was when I had finally was like, yeah, I was like, I got to talk to my husband about this. And I mean, terrified. He just called my parents and was like, do you think that we could come to your house, like, now? And my parents were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
of course. Like, do you need us to come to you or whatever is easier?" And I wanted to get out of the house, so we went to my parents, and we spent, like, a whole day and night there, and we pretty much made a plan. I mean, I knew that, like, I was, like, not wanting to hurt myself, and I definitely didn't wanna hurt my baby, so they knew we were safe, but we were like, they were like, "You need to get an appointment, like, tomorrow for a psychiatrist, and if no one can see you, then" it was like I was gonna have to go to the hospital. So,
Mhm.
luckily again, and I owe this again to what I was doing prior. I was working in mental health, and actually what I was doing at the hospital was getting people connected to resources, so I would, you know, set them up with a psychiatrist or set them up with a therapist. And so I knew of the places around me and I just called, called, called. And I got one and they were like, "We'll see you tomorrow." Like, yeah, we'll do it.
Good.
Yeah. I was very lucky for that. And it was an awful, like, I would say 7, 8 weeks. But the psychiatrist who I still see, I love her. Amazing. She was like, she was able to name it. This is what's going on. You're not broken. This is, it's not normal, but it's common.
Mhm.
This happens to a lot of women. And also, and this helped me a lot, she's like, you also just went through such a traumatizing experience on top of this. So it's like, who knows what a normal postpartum would have looked like for you. She's like, this is not a
Right.
normal postpartum, you know? So she got me started on medications and I've been taking them ever since. And yeah, I was feeling a lot better within like, I would say I started to feel better in like 3 weeks, but like was feeling fully myself again after like 2 months.
Yeah. Which is what they say too, which I think is important for a lot of people to know. Like, medication, A, is no shame, no stigma.
Mm-mm,
2,
nope.
also remember it takes 6 to 8 weeks for most mental health medications to become what they call at a therapeutic level.
Right. Hmm.
Like, so yeah, you said you started seeing little glimpses and glimmers of yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and then it took some time, but it really speaks to the knowledge and the background that you had to be able to recognize these things for what they were because they're terrifying for anyone.
Yeah.
Intrusive thoughts are
Oh
terrifying.
my gosh. Horrible.
Suicidal ideation is terrifying. I
Mhm.
know that feeling
Yeah.
of, okay, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done now.
Exactly. And it was just like, it was like to the point where it was like, okay, like what do I do? Like I really don't think I could live like this. And
Mhm.
that, like you said, it's terrifying, and it happens
Yeah.
to so many women.
It happens to so many women, and then like you said, even so you don't know what your postpartum experience would have looked like if you had not suffered birth trauma, but or I should say, and a lot of those feelings that you had, like the not connecting with your son or the feeling like, "I don't know who this is, like, I love him, obviously, I love him, but I don't know him." That's also so very common, and I think there's a lot of shame and stigma tied to that as well. So just naming that those things are common, but yeah, so impacted and, like, compounded by the experience that you
Yeah,
went through.
absolutely.
I'm so thankful and grateful that you had the resources and that you had the support that you
Yeah,
did because you were able to take those steps and you were able to get the help that you need. And that's why we're talking about these things, right? So that
right.
the moms who don't have that background knowledge and who don't have that support system can be like, okay, I'm not crazy. This happens to a lot of people and I can take steps and I can get better.
Exactly. Yeah, and, I think that was, like, I love the word that you use, glimmer, but I think for me, that was, like, the one glimmer that was it was honestly, like, when my psychiatrist would say, like, "Is there anything that you feel, like, positive about?" And I would say I think it's the fact that, like, I know what's going on, and
Mhm.
there's women who don't know, right? Because, like, if you don't work in the field or if you've never studied it or heard about it or, know somebody who's gone through it, you don't know, and I was still scared with the knowledge that I had. I can't even imagine if I didn't know what these things were. I was able to name it. I was I clocked what was going on, but it was still terrifying. But I just don't know what I would have done. I honestly say to this day, it's almost like a blessing. I had started working in this hospital maybe just 2, 3 months before I even got pregnant. I had no idea any of these resources. Most of these mental health, challenges that I was able to learn about, I don't think I would have known about them. Even as a
Yeah.
social worker, there's so many different, areas in the field. You don't see everything. So
Mm-mm.
I'm like, it's a blessing really in disguise that I was there and knew what I needed to do. But that's why I feel
And
it's so
you even saw women who were experiencing postpartum mental
exactly
health disorders,
right, right.
right?
hmm
Yeah.
Not many, but I did see, yeah, a couple. And it's like it's just one of those things that you're like, "Hmm." It just makes me think. I mean, obviously everyone has their own beliefs, but I'm like, it is interesting. I was, never really one to be like, "Oh, yeah, I wanna work in a psych unit," to be honest. But it
I
was
mean, I
like
don't it definitely takes a certain kind of person
yeah, but the
to say like, "Yeah, that's what
opportunity
I wanna do."
yeah, the opportunity presented itself and Um, I loved it actually. I learned so much from the patients, and honestly, I give a lot of like what the fact that I was able to help myself to a lot of the patients that I had worked with. Um, and obviously the doctors and everything too, but you learn so much.
I mean, I will say on a very personal level, and I think I can speak for anybody who's been through this, like, I'm thankful for people like you who do especially social workers, who are working in psychiatric inpatient units. I mean, I was hospitalized 3 times in a psych unit, and it was the social workers and it was the nurses most of the time, who made the most impact. So, like, I am thanking you on behalf of those of us who have had to be in that situation, which is a terrifying
It
situation
is.
and
It's
very uncomfortable situation,
yeah.
but it is the social workers and it is the people who decide like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I can do this." Rather than like, "Okay, yeah, this is my job. I'm just gonna show up and
Mm.
it's a paycheck,"
I
right?
know what you mean. I
So,
know. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so, I mean and I am also pretty woo-woo, and I so I don't believe in silver linings, you know this if you've listened to the podcast, but I do believe that we're put in certain situations maybe because something down the road is gonna we're gonna benefit from that. So I totally vibe with the, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, yeah, okay. I know this, and thank goodness I know this."
Yeah.
Right?
We talk about it all the time. It's like, what if I didn't know any of this?
Yeah.
It could have
Yeah.
been months or a year before I got help.
Yeah. And the outcome could have been completely different, and I'm so thankful that it wasn't. And this transitions us kind of beautifully into the advocacy work that you're doing now. I don't know how you feel about the term content creator. I don't feel great about it myself because I'm like, nobody wants to look at my stuff. But
And I'm
like
like, I'm not an influencer. I don't really
I
know.
know. I'm like, I don't see myself that way at all. But like I do so love I love, love, love your content specifically because first of all, you really have your finger on the dial in terms of how like what I'm not all into like trends and stuff, but you're able to work what is trending right now
Mhm. Mhm.
in a way that resonates with the advocacy and with the message that needs to get out there.
Yeah.
Does that make any
Yeah, yeah,
sense?
I do tend
Yeah.
to if I see one that will work, I will use it, yeah,
Yeah.
because 'cause I'm like, the more
You're
people who see it, the better, you know?
yes, you're
Mhm.
so good at that. Which
Thank
is
you.
no, really, truly, and I admire the work that you're doing so much because A, you're incredibly vulnerable and just completely transparent, which is things that I value, I think, above almost anything else. But you're able to reach so many parents because you can work the algorithm, girl. Like you've got it.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
and I no, truly, and I've loved watching your account grow because I've always said, like, in this space, it's not a competition. We're all on the
Yeah,
same
no.
team.
Mhm.
And but that's what I mean. Like, I love watching your account grow, and I love watching accounts like yours grow because it means that more people are learning and more people are getting the message. Talk to me a little bit about where Beyond the Birth Trauma started because you said
Mhm.
originally you were kind of posting things on your own account.
Yeah. So, I have a personal account, and I was posting a lot at first, it was just kind of explaining what happened, and I was like, I know that these are just, like, people I went to high school with, no offense, guys, if you're listening, but, I mean I don't really know that they care about I'm sure they're good people. They cared that I almost died. But, I'm just like posting a lot of these things. I mean, a lot of what you see on Beyond the Birth Trauma was like things, not really the reels, but I would post a lot of things, about birth trauma and about what I went through, postpartum hemorrhage, um, postpartum depression on my personal account. And I'm like, you know, um, everyone who follows me here is like family or friends or people I went to school with, and you know, maybe they don't want to see this stuff.
Mm,
So that's when I decided. I said, let me. Well, I didn't really decide. I was like back and forth. I don't know, because again, it's like I don't know how to like make videos. I don't know how. What am I going to do? Like, I feel weird and uncomfortable doing this. But I just kept saying to my husband, "Should I do it? Should I make an account?" And he was always like, "Yes, I think you
yeah.
should. Do it. Who cares if you have 20 followers? Who cares if you have 3 followers?" The whole point is that for you, it's supposed to be like a little diary. And
Mhm.
so it started out as just that. It was in July of last year. So, like,
Yeah, it was
really
not that long
not that
ago.
long ago. I was coming home from my parents' house, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna make it." And he was like, "Okay." And that was it, and I just made it, and at first, it was just strictly birth trauma. I didn't even really I shared a little bit of my story, but not too much in detail. Um, but and it kinda just, like, snowballed from there, and now I talk a lot about birth trauma, but also I'll share women's stories if there's anyone
Mhm.
who wants to share their story. And then I also talk about being one and done, so it's kind of like a
Mhm.
mixture of things, and it definitely has, resonated with a lot of people, I think, so especially
It's
recently.
resonated Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's resonated with a lot of people. A lot of people have had some opinions, and I love that you're like I love that you're calling it out too, because
Yeah.
it's like, excuse me, my experience is just as valid as your experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
like, one of my videos just went viral, and I just don't think a lot of people knew. It was one of my one and done videos. So, a
Yeah.
lot of people just don't know my story, and they're, like, just fighting in the comments. I'm like, "This is a birth trauma page."
Like,
So
how about you look for some context before you get all salty up in my comment section?
I,
Like, oh my god. So yeah, so the things that you're talking about are important and they do resonate with so many people, especially like I was going to mention like the one and done thing. And I
Mhm,
think that I mean I was that way for years and
mhm.
years and then I changed my mind, but I am still so supportive of like, you know what's right for you, and
Yeah,
you're not
yeah,
selfish, and you
right.
also don't know everybody's circumstances and whatever. So, yeah, that's my clap back, which is a very gentle, mild clap back. That's my, like, meek and
It's a
mild way.
great,
Like
great clap back. I love
sure, that's my
it.
we'll go with that. But the other thing that you're doing is you are creating connections, which is like my whole deal. So of course I love it and I'm so just in awe of it. But you've built this community of moms who would never have met otherwise, who share some experiences and are now all just cheering for each other. And I think what I admire most about you is like, yeah, you're talking about the hard stuff, you're giving the information, you're being authentically you. You also are just the biggest freaking cheerleader for all of us. No, truly.
'Cause I
Like
love you guys, I really do. I've found
I know, and
such
that's
a
not a normal like, I wish it were a normal thing. Um, but I respect it so much because,
Mhm.
I mean, that I value that. I value authenticity. I value connection. I value all of it. And so, like, Kathryn's in my DMs every day, you guys. Like, we're all like, oh, you're sick too? Yeah, I'm sick too. I hope you get better. Like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
you are the reason that I found the one other person
Mhm.
who experienced the brain tumor and hemorrhage. I mean,
Yeah.
separate hemorrhage. I had a postpartum hemorrhage and then I had a
Yeah.
brain hemorrhage. But
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
because of you, Kathryn. So
yeah.
you're
I was so happy
bridging
when you
these
told me that.
gaps.
Yeah, yeah. I was so
Oh my
happy when you told
god.
me that.
Oh my god. So, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. I can guarantee you I'm not the only one. Because that's just who you are. And
Mhm.
it's very
Yeah.
rare
You're
to
so
that's why
sweet.
I said no, seriously, it especially in the social media space, like with you saying like, "I don't know how to do this, I'm uncomfortable." It doesn't seem that
Yeah.
way. You seem like you know what you're doing. And I could tell you I'm very uncomfortable, but to find someone who is real and who really cares about their followers and who really cares about the people who are showing up, that's not a typical thing. So, I
I
think what you're
appreciate
doing
it. Thank
oh my
you.
god, what you're doing is phenomenal. I'm so, so, so grateful to be able to like share space with you and to like be on this mission with you. Like, I don't know, you're gonna blow up even more than you're blowing up right now. I can tell. So and then
Stop.
I'm gonna be the one who be like, guys, do you know that I actually had Kathryn on my podcast? Like
Oh my
I'd be like,
gosh, wait. You know, it's, like,
what?
so crazy, and I just have to shout this out. She knows who she is. There was a woman who DM'd me, just, like, randomly DM'd me, "Thank you so much for your content, it's really helpful. This is, like, what I went through," and, not to get into her story, but kinda just told me a little bit about herself. And I said to her, "You look so familiar." And then we found out that we went to CCD together when we were kids, and we were in the same CCD class, which is like religious school. But like if you
Right.
went to public school, you'd go to CCD after school. And yeah, we knew each other from when we were little, and she found me from Beyond the Birth Trauma.
And you were just like, "Oh,
I
hey.
know. Shout
Hey,
out. I
girl,
hope
hey."
I'm not gonna say who it is, but she knows who she is and she's so lovely. But it's like you said, it's like these like random connections that you just find in this space. It's so beautiful. And it has been life-changing for me, and I really appreciate all your kind words. Um, I don't know, right now I feel like the account is growing a lot faster than I expected it to. But it was like never about numbers. I mean, I guess in a way, because I want to reach more people and
Mhm.
more people that have, the awareness and the knowledge, the better. But for me, it was just it started out as just like me expressing kind of my thoughts and feelings, what I went through, and it's been a really great space for me to do that, and now it's just become something else, and it has been truly life-changing in the best way possible, and so I really appreciate all of your kind words. I feel the same about you, I really do. You're
You. Oh
wonderful. You're doing
my
so many
gosh.
great things for this community, and so I'm honored that you are talking to me right now.
It will always, always, always hold space for everyone, and I appreciate it. I say it's a club none of us wanted to join, but is full of some of the most incredible people I've ever met in my entire
Yeah,
life, so and you're
yeah,
one of them.
and
So,
you're one of them for me. You are.
you are officially QC fam. You were before, you are now.
Thank you.
Um But yeah, so just, time's sake, because I could literally freaking talk to you all day.
I
Especially
know.
like both of fellow like Italian to Italian girl, like,
We're
oh
very
my
chit
God.
chatty.
Oh my God. Very much movement, very much. If you're not watching this and you're just listening to this, yes, there's been a lot of stereotypes being fulfilled today.
Yes, yes. And a lot of me
So
touching my hair. I
a
apologize
lot of
for
hair.
anyone
See,
watching.
the headphones keep me from touching my hair. I have a fidget, so I'm
It's
playing with my
smart. Oh,
fidget
that's so
the whole
smart.
time. It's
I
under the
should have prepared
desk.
better.
No.
Oh,
Okay, so to bring us home, um, I have been doing a new sort of exercise is to end our episodes, and it's part of my woo woo. It's part of my millennial, and you hopefully you'll vibe with it. We'll see. So I'm bringing us.
millennial, so.
No, I know, but some people are like, okay, but anyway, I'm bringing us back to the days pre cell phone, pre like you were always able to be reached. Like if you wanted to talk to someone, you had to call the landline. If they didn't answer, you had to leave them a message and hope that their parents didn't hear it first. Um, so you don't know who my next guest is going to be. You don't know what
Okay.
their story is. You don't know anything about them, but you called in to Quiet Connection today and they
Mhm.
weren't here to pick up. So you are going to leave them a message. And that is open to however you interpret that.
Okay.
I've had some guests say like encouraging words. I've had some guests say, I don't know, something about their own story. You can interpret it however you want.
Mhm.
But like I said, the woo woo part of me is you to get your message, you have to listen to the episode before yours. And you're gonna, but you're gonna see, we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna check back in and be like, did it resonate? Was it totally
Yeah.
off base? Like, I don't know. I don't know. So, all right. So you're gonna leave a message for my next guest. What would you like them to take away? What would you like them to know?
So for the next guest, I would like for you I don't know if you're telling your story, I don't know if you're a professional in the field, but tell exactly what you think every mom needs to hear because even if you think it's not going to resonate, it's going to somebody. Even there's things that I feel like I post sometimes on my account and I'm like, this is just going to flop. I don't think people will understand it. And so many people tell me, will message me, "Oh my gosh, like, you don't understand. It's like you're reading my thoughts." And so just do that. You're a professional. You're a mom who's telling your postpartum story or birth trauma story, whatever. Tell it like it is, and it'll resonate with someone. Was that
I love
good?
it. Oh my God, was that good? That's our Italian Catholic like coming through. Did I do okay? Was that okay?
Oh my god.
Um Yes. Yes, that was beautiful. And it's so on brand for you. Like tell it like it is.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable. Just that it's gonna resonate with
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, just like I tell all my guests, open invitation. You are welcome back whenever, because I'm sure the conversation could continue.
My God, for
Um,
hours.
oh my God. If I was better at voice memos, I would do that. But I'm gonna be chatting with you like hours from now anyway on Instagram.
Yes, we will.
But we've talked about Instagram a lot, but for listeners who want to learn more about you, who want to follow your journey, where is the best place for them to look?
Give me Instagram at Beyond the Birth Trauma.
Perfect. You
Plain and
recently joined
simple.
Threads.
I
You
did.
recently joined
I'm
Threads.
really struggling with Threads
I
though.
am too.
But if you do follow me on Instagram, or if you want to follow me, you'll see my threads there. I'm doing my best, but
It's
it's
different.
hard. It's
It's
different.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those will be linked in the show notes for listeners who just want an easy way to like click and follow, which you should.
Hmm.
Um,
Or you
and
can
yeah,
email
just
me also at beyondthebirthtrauma@gmail.com if you want to share your story, or just write whatever you want. I mean, there's people who just write in just to tell me that, instead of messaging me on Instagram. So you could totally do that. But for whatever reason, you could reach me there.
perfect. Fabulous. Love it. It'll all be in the show notes. And yeah, again, I'm so thankful that you chose to spend some time with me this morning on this Saturday morning.
I'm so
Um,
happy.
oh my God. So yeah, I mean, keep doing what you're doing. And this isn't goodbye because I'm
No,
just going to talk to you later.
this is only the beginning. I'm going to annoy you
Yes.
later.
Yes, please. Please do.
Okay.
I am so incredibly thankful to Kathryn for her honesty and for being such a loud cheerleader for all of us in the perinatal mental health realm. Her story is a powerful reminder that even when your body doesn't follow the plan, you aren't broken. If Kathryn's story resonated with you, go give her a follow at Beyond the Birth Trauma on Instagram. You can also follow us on pretty much any social media platform at Quiet Connection Podcast. And if you'd like to share your story, you can contact us through our website, quietconnectionpodcast.com, or through email at chelsea@quietconnectionpodcast.com. And please be sure to share this episode with someone you think may need to hear it. Now go grab your emotional support water bottle, find a glimmer in your day, and remember, you are not alone. I see you.